Most people don't realize how much of their energy and attention is consumed by chasing signs. From the moment they wake up, their minds are trained to notice patterns, coincidences, and seemingly random events, and they interpret these as messages from the universe. They wake up, glance at the clock, and see repeated numbers like 1111 or 222. Their minds immediately attach meaning to it, believing it is a direct communication or validation that the universe is acknowledging their desires. They find a feather lying on the ground and instantly assume it is a spiritual message meant just for them. They hear a song on the radio and wonder if its lyrics are a secret code about their destiny. In a way, their intuition is correct. These are signs. They exist, but the paradox lies in how humans interpret and respond to them. While signs can be meaningful reflections, the obsessive pursuit of them often signals an inner uncertainty that keeps people locked in waiting, unable to step fully into the reality they desire. The fundamental problem with relying on signs is that they are external. They are not the source of creation. They are reflections of your current state. When someone constantly seeks proof, they are indirectly admitting that they do not yet believe in their own ability to manifest. The act of waiting for external validation communicates doubt to the quantum field, the subtle energetic environment that responds not to what you desire, but to who you are being in the present moment. The more one scans the environment for proof, the more the universe mirrors back the state of lack, the absence or incompletion. People think they are searching for confirmation of what is coming, but in reality, the continuous search for signs keeps them suspended between reality and desire, creating limbo rather than progress. The human mind becomes addicted to reassurance, craving evidence that something exists before allowing oneself to act or feel as though it already belongs. Signs by nature are ambiguous. A number on a clock, a feather, or a song could mean many things. The mind interprets it according to its current beliefs, often reinforcing the patterns it already holds. When a person sees a repeated number, their excitement momentarily lifts them into a state of hope, but if the state of doubt or lack persists, the emotional spike is short-lived. The next time a sign fails to appear, or appears in a way that doesn't match expectations, frustration, anxiety, or renewed doubt arises. This cyclical process, chasing signs and interpreting them selectively, becomes a habitual form of self-sabotage. It gives a temporary sense of control or hope, but ultimately reinforces the state of waiting. In a profound way, the mind has been trained from early life to rely on external permission. As children, people were conditioned to wait for grades, approval, or validation from authority figures. This habit of seeking external confirmation gets carried into adulthood, where it manifests in the form of spiritual or universal sign-seeking. The mind subconsciously equates certainty with external evidence, and it feels uncomfortable or incomplete without it. When people wait for signs, they are not manifesting, they are hovering in a state of anticipation. Every moment of looking outward is a moment of resistance. It is a subtle form of tension that the body and mind carry unconsciously. Even if someone intellectually believes in their power to manifest, the emotional and physiological response to waiting for signs communicates uncertainty. The nervous system remains on high alert, scanning for confirmation, seeking reassurance, and monitoring every external stimulus for clues. This vigilance creates a frequency of lack. In energetic terms, the universe does not respond to the desire expressed through words or thoughts alone. It responds to the vibrational state that one broadcasts. Waiting, scanning, hoping, and doubting all generate a vibration that signals incompletion. Instead of pulling the desired reality closer, this behavior reinforces its distance, creating a self-perpetuating loop in which the signs are continually sought but never satisfy, because the underlying frequency remains misaligned. The paradox of signs extends further when considered through the lens of perception and consciousness. The very act of searching implies separation between the seeker and the sought. If one truly believed that a desired outcome was already present, there would be no need for constant validation. Confidence in the unseen comes not from evidence but from internal coherence, the sense of alignment with a reality that is already existing. People often mistake signs for guidance, but in essence signs are echoes, not instructions. They reflect the emotional and vibrational state of the person, rather than dictating the path forward. The human tendency to chase signs is rooted in the habitual desire to control outcomes, to reduce uncertainty, and to feel safe in the process of creation. Yet in doing so they unknowingly reinforce the very uncertainty they are attempting to avoid. The more effort expended in monitoring, the more distant the manifestation appears, not because the universe is withholding, but because the state of consciousness has not shifted into coherence. Many are unaware that signs can be misleading. They provide intermittent reassurance that momentarily soothes doubt, yet they do not address the root cause of the waiting, the lack of inner alignment. A person might see repeated numbers or find symbolic objects, interpret them as confirmation, and feel briefly uplifted. But once the signs stop or fail to provide the expected clarity, doubt creeps back, stronger than before. This creates a cycle of addiction, seeking signs, feeling reassured, losing signs, falling into doubt, and seeking again. Each iteration of this cycle strengthens the state of separation and postpones the actualization of desires. The mind wants tangible proof, yet the proof of creation has always been internal. Signs can enhance awareness or inspire intuition, but they were never meant to be the foundation upon which manifestation is built. Reliance on signs is a form of avoidance. It is easier to wait for something external than to embody certainty internally. Observing this behavior in the context of quantum principles further clarifies the paradox. The universe, or the quantum field, does not respond to the mere presence of a desire. It responds to the state of being. Superposition in quantum mechanics illustrates that all possibilities already exist simultaneously. Yet, the moment an observer collapses the wave of possibility, the outcome manifests in alignment with the observer's expectation or vibrational frequency. Waiting for signs collapses the wave not into the reality desired, but into a state of continued searching and doubt. The universe mirrors back coherence, not confusion. The repeated emphasis on external signs signals hesitation, not faith, and the field simply mirrors that. People are not wrong to notice signs, but misinterpreting them as the roadmap for creation leads to stagnation. Instead, one must recognize that the absence of signs can indicate alignment. The field flows without needing to provide constant confirmation. Signs are feedback, not the creative instruction. They tell you where you are, not where you are going. In this way, the paradox of signs is a subtle trap. It creates the illusion of faith, while reinforcing doubt. People mistakenly believe they are actively participating in their manifestation journey, when in reality, the obsession with signs keeps them oscillating between hope and uncertainty. The mind, conditioned to equate certainty with external validation, thrives on the reassurance that signs provide, yet this same reliance prevents the internal state of coherence necessary for manifestation. Understanding this paradox is the first step toward liberation. By recognizing that signs are reflections of current frequency, not directives for the future, a person can begin to shift attention inward, cultivating alignment and confidence that does not depend on external stimuli. Only by disentangling from the cycle of sign-seeking can one begin to inhabit the state of being necessary for true manifestation, a state in which desire and reality are not separate, and where the field responds effortlessly to presence rather than uncertainty. Quantum alignment is a concept that bridges the gap between consciousness, energy, and the reality we experience. At its core, it is the understanding that the universe, or the quantum field, does not respond to what you merely want or think about, but to the vibrational frequency you emit in the present moment. Every thought, emotion, and belief produces a subtle energy signature that interacts with the field, shaping the reality that emerges around you. This is why two people with the same desire can experience vastly different outcomes. One may find everything effortlessly falling into place, while the other struggles endlessly. The difference is not in the desire itself, but in the alignment of their consciousness with the frequency of that desired reality. Quantum mechanics provides a scientific framework to understand this principle through concepts such as superposition, wave function collapse, and the observer effect, revealing that reality is more fluid and responsive than we commonly assume. In quantum physics, a particle does not exist in a single state until it is observed. Instead, it exists in superposition, a state where all possibilities coexist simultaneously. This phenomenon implies that the universe contains an infinite array of potential realities at every moment. The key to manifestation lies not in external effort, but in the coherent observation of a particular potential, effectively collapsing the wave into the desired outcome. The paradox is that the field is impartial. It does not distinguish between doubt and certainty, desire and fear, hope and knowing. It responds to the vibrational frequency projected by consciousness. Hesitation, fear, or reliance on external validation broadcasts a frequency of incompletion, causing the wave to collapse in alignment with uncertainty, rather than the reality that one wishes to experience. Quantum alignment is therefore less about controlling the external environment, and more about mastering the internal state of being, where every aspect of thought, feeling, and intention resonates as a unified signal. Observation is a powerful concept in both physics and consciousness studies. The observer effect in quantum mechanics suggests that the act of measurement determines the state of a particle. Applied to manifestation, this principle indicates that reality does not simply unfold independently of awareness. It is directly influenced by the coherence of the observer's consciousness. When a person observes their reality with clarity, conviction, and internal alignment, the universe mirrors back a consistent and corresponding reality. Conversely, when the mind vacillates between doubt and hope, desire and impatience, the wave collapses into fragmented and inconsistent outcomes. People often mistake observation for passive watching, but true observation in the context of quantum alignment requires a deliberate and integrated focus of attention, free from the oscillations of uncertainty. This is why so many spiritual teachers emphasize living as if the desired outcome is already present, because the act of assuming or embodying the state signals the field to organize around that reality. A critical aspect of alignment involves the distinction between signs and states. Signs, such as repeated numbers, feathers, or serendipitous events, are reflections, not instructions. They mirror the observer's current frequency, rather than dictating future outcomes. Misinterpreting signs as a roadmap keeps consciousness fragmented, as the mind constantly shifts between expectation and validation. Quantum alignment requires turning attention inward, toward the internal experience of coherence, rather than outward, seeking confirmation. The energy signature, emitted from the internal state, is what collapses possibilities into reality. If the observer is oscillating between belief and doubt, the field mirrors this uncertainty, producing experiences that reinforce indecision. Alignment is therefore about stabilizing the internal state, maintaining a vibrational signature of certainty and presence, which allows the field to respond without interference or distortion. Emotion plays an equally vital role in quantum alignment. Thoughts alone do not generate a sufficient signal. The body, feeling, and emotional resonance are integral to the process. The nervous system acts as an amplifier for consciousness, translating subtle energetic signals into measurable vibrational output. When a person feels tension, anxiety, or a need for external validation, the body emits a frequency of resistance. This energetic pattern interacts with the field, shaping outcomes in accordance with misalignment. In contrast, when the nervous system is calm, present, and coherent, emotions harmonize with intention, creating a powerful resonance that the field naturally mirrors. The principle of alignment extends beyond thinking or imagining. It encompasses the integrated embodiment of mind, emotion, and physical presence. Coherence across all aspects of being ensures that the observer's signal is clear, strong, and capable of collapsing the desired potential into reality. Timing and detachment are also fundamental to quantum alignment. The field does not operate according to human schedules, linear time, or external deadlines. Manifestation is not a process of pushing, forcing, or striving to fit outcomes into a predetermined timeline. Instead, it responds to readiness, coherence, and the vibrational match between consciousness and potential reality. When people obsess over signs, proof, or external cues, They attempt to control timing through observation, which paradoxically disrupts the alignment. Detachment is the practice of releasing the need to know when and how the desired reality will appear. By trusting the process and allowing the field to operate according to its inherent intelligence, one maintains a coherent state without interference. This is why moments of quiet, seemingly unplanned breakthroughs often occur. The field responds to the frequency of the observer, not the clock of the mind. Intention in quantum alignment is another subtle yet powerful factor. Intention must be coherent, integrated, and ungrasping to influence outcomes effectively. The act of intending is not merely wishing or hoping for something. It is the conscious placement of focus, emotion, and belief into a singular harmonized frequency. Studies in consciousness research, such as those conducted at the Institute of Noetic Sciences, demonstrate that intention can have measurable effects on physical systems, but only when the intention is steady, coherent, and free from internal conflict. The moment the mind becomes reactive, doubtful, or anxious, the signal weakens, and the field produces corresponding ambiguity. Quantum alignment is therefore as much about refining internal clarity as it is about forming specific intentions. The field responds not to effort, but to precision of vibration, where mind, body, and emotion resonate in harmony. The teachings of spiritual masters such as Neville Goddard provide practical insight into the principles of quantum alignment. Goddard emphasized the importance of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, which is essentially an exercise in vibrational coherence. By living as if the desired outcome is already present, a person aligns their consciousness with the frequency of that reality. This practice creates an internal state that signals the quantum field to organize external circumstances accordingly. Alignment is not about forcing outcomes or obsessing over external signs. It is about stabilizing the internal experience to match the reality one wishes to embody. Coherence across all levels of being, thought, feeling, and action acts as a magnet, drawing circumstances, people, and opportunities that reflect the chosen frequency. The field mirrors what is held internally, not what is desired externally. In practical terms, quantum alignment involves consistent self-awareness, intentional emotion regulation, and embodied presence, observing the quality of thoughts and feelings, consciously selecting emotional states that resonate with certainty, and embodying the physical sensations of fulfillment and completion are key practices. Alignment is reinforced when the nervous system is regulated, the mind is focused, and the emotional state matches the frequency of the desired reality. Each moment of coherence reinforces the probability of the intended outcome, collapsing potential timelines into the experience of manifestation. Conversely, fragmentation, doubt, and external dependence broadcast conflicting signals, resulting in delayed or misaligned outcomes. The universe does not need to teach, test, or provide signs. It responds directly to the vibrational integrity of the observer. Quantum alignment is therefore not an abstract or esoteric concept. It is a precise principle that integrates consciousness, energy, and physical reality. It reveals that the path to manifestation is not external searching, striving, or reliance on signs, but internal stabilization of frequency. When alignment is achieved, the observer naturally collapses probabilities into desired outcomes, experiences seamless synchronicity, and moves effortlessly into coherence with their chosen reality. Every thought, feeling, and action contributes to this alignment, and every moment of internal clarity strengthens the signal sent to the field. In this way, quantum alignment transforms manifestation from a process of waiting and hoping into a state of knowing, presence, and vibrational integrity, where reality is drawn toward the observer in exact resonance with their internal frequency. The spiritual principles of manifestation form the underlying foundation upon which the mechanics of reality creation operate. Across cultures, religions, and mystical traditions, there is a recurring theme. The external world is a reflection of the inner state of being. This principle transcends cultural, philosophical, and scientific boundaries, suggesting that the laws governing manifestation are both universal and timeless. To understand manifestation spiritually is to recognize that the energy, intention, and consciousness you cultivate within yourself are directly responsible for the life you experience outside. The inner state is not separate from the external outcome. Rather, it is the blueprint from which all creation unfolds. When this principle is embraced, the search for signs, validation, and external proof becomes unnecessary, because the practitioner understands that the source of creation lies within, and the universe is a mirror of their inner coherence. At the core of spiritual manifestation is the idea of alignment. Alignment does not refer solely to mental focus or concentration, but to the integration of mind, body, and heart. Thought without feeling lacks the power to resonate in the quantum field, and feeling without clarity of thought produces incoherence. Likewise, action without presence or intention becomes mechanical and ineffective. True alignment requires the harmonization of all aspects of the self into a unified energetic expression. In this state, every desire, every intention, and every thought vibrates with a consistent frequency. This coherence is what spiritual teachers often describe as the knowing that bypasses hope or doubt. It is a state of inner certainty that allows the energy of the universe to flow effortlessly, organizing circumstances, events, and relationships in support of the desired outcome. Without alignment, manifestation becomes fragmented, inconsistent, and prolonged, regardless of external effort or ritual. Faith is another cornerstone of spiritual manifestation, but it is frequently misunderstood. In common usage, faith is often equated with belief in something that is unseen or hoped for. Spiritually, however, faith is not hoping that something will occur. It is the deep-seated recognition that what is desired already exists at a vibrational level. Faith is an internal acknowledgement of reality that transcends physical evidence. This principle is echoed in the teachings of Neville Goddard, who emphasized the necessity of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled. By embodying the state of having, rather than waiting for external confirmation, the practitioner broadcasts a frequency of certainty that aligns with the reality they seek. The act of assuming is not pretending or wishful thinking. It is a deliberate spiritual practice that trains the consciousness to inhabit a higher state of being, which in turn signals the field to respond in kind. Detachment is another principle central to the spiritual approach to manifestation. Detachment does not imply indifference or passivity. Rather, it is the release of obsession over outcomes, timelines, and validation. Many people block their manifestation because they cling to results with tension and anxiety, creating a vibrational pattern of resistance. In spiritual terms, attachment to outcomes introduces duality, the separation between self and desire, which interferes with the natural flow of creation. When detachment is practiced, one relinquishes control over the how and when, trusting that the field operates with perfect intelligence. This surrender allows the nervous system to shift from survival mode into a state of receptivity, where clarity, intuition, and alignment are accessible. In essence, detachment creates the space for manifestation to unfold organically, without interference from doubt or mental struggle. Visualization is a spiritual practice closely intertwined with alignment and faith. Beyond simply imagining an outcome, spiritual visualization involves immersing oneself in the experience of the desired reality with sensory richness and emotional depth. This practice leverages the mind-body connection, training both consciousness and the nervous system to experience the state of having as if it were already present. When done with alignment and detachment, visualization becomes a powerful tool that communicates coherently with the field. Unlike mechanical or forced visualizations, spiritually grounded visualization is not about repetition or effort but about resonance. It is about embodying the state fully, aligning thought, feeling, and bodily sensations, so that the inner world matches the reality to be manifested. The practice of gratitude is another crucial spiritual principle. Gratitude is not merely a polite acknowledgement of what exists, but a high-frequency energetic state that reinforces the alignment of consciousness with the abundance of the field. When gratitude is experienced genuinely, it signals to the universe that one recognizes and resonates with the already present abundance. This shifts attention away from lack or longing and amplifies coherence, strengthening the vibrational match between the self and desired outcomes. Spiritually, gratitude acts as a multiplier of manifestation because it transforms perception, focusing consciousness on what is fulfilled rather than what is absent. This perspective is central to many traditions, from Buddhism to Kabbalistic teachings, where the cultivation of gratitude is seen as the gateway to higher states of consciousness and energetic resonance. Intention is another key principle, but spiritual intention differs from mere goal setting. Spiritual intention is the conscious direction of energy, aligned with the inner state of being. It is not about forcing events to happen or manipulating outcomes. It is about clarifying what is desired and maintaining resonance with that reality. Intention is powerful when coupled with faith, detachment, and alignment. Inconsistent or conflicted intentions dilute the vibrational signal and produce fragmented outcomes, whereas clear, coherent, and emotionally integrated intention resonates fully with the field. In practical terms, intention acts as a compass, directing consciousness toward the desired reality, without the need for external signs or reinforcement. Another vital spiritual principle involves the understanding of self as the source of creation. Many spiritual traditions emphasize that the power to manifest lies not in external rituals, luck, or divine intervention alone, but in the recognition that consciousness itself is the creative agent. This understanding shifts responsibility and empowerment inward, reducing dependence on external validation or proof. When a person embodies the awareness that they are the source, the need to chase signs diminishes because they realize that reality is a mirror of their inner state. The field is not influenced by desire alone. It responds to the frequency of the being experiencing the desire. This principle underscores the importance of self-mastery, emotional regulation, and conscious alignment in the process of manifestation. Finally, spiritual manifestation involves consistency and practice without strain. The power of the spiritual principles lies not in force or compulsion, but in repeated alignment with the truth of coherence. Daily practices such as meditation, coherent breathing, embodiment of the desired state, and conscious intention reinforce alignment with the chosen reality. They harmonize mind, body, and energy, producing a steady vibrational output that resonates with the field. The spiritual approach emphasizes quality over quantity. It is not about hours of visualization or obsessive checking for signs, but about consistent moments of presence, clarity, and alignment. The field does not respond to effort but to the integrity of frequency, and even small, intentional moments of coherence accumulate to produce profound effects in the manifestation of reality. The convergence of these spiritual principles, faith, detachment, alignment, visualization, gratitude, intention, and self-recognition, creates a framework in which manifestation becomes a natural extension of being, rather than a forced outcome. They reveal that the act of creation is not an external struggle, but an internal harmonization of consciousness, emotion, and presence. The universe, or the quantum field, is impartial yet responsive. It mirrors the energy emitted and reinforces the vibrational state of the observer. The more these principles are understood and embodied, the less one needs to rely on external signs, proof, or validation, because the inner state alone determines the external outcome. Detachment and flow are foundational elements in the spiritual and practical process of manifestation. Detachment does not mean indifference, resignation, or lack of desire. Instead, it is a conscious release of attachment to specific outcomes, timelines, and methods, coupled with trust in the intelligence of the universe or the quantum field. When people are attached to results, they inadvertently create tension in their nervous system, which disrupts the natural coherence necessary for manifestation. This tension often manifests as impatience, anxiety, or obsessive checking for signs, proof, or validation. Detachment, on the other hand, allows one to step out of the cycle of effort and worry, aligning internal energy with the desired outcome in a calm, coherent, and present state. Flow is the natural extension of detachment, a state where consciousness, emotion, and action harmonize effortlessly with the currents of life. In flow, resistance diminishes, and the field responds to the clarity and coherence of being rather than to frantic attempts at control or external cues. At its essence, detachment is a practice of trust. It requires faith that the desired outcome already exists in the field of infinite possibilities, and that your internal state, when aligned, will collapse potential timelines into the reality you intend. Trust is not passive, it is an active engagement with the present, a conscious decision to step out of struggle while maintaining clarity of desire. Most people struggle with detachment because they equate letting go with giving up, but the spiritual principle is exactly the opposite. Letting go is a way to strengthen alignment. By releasing obsession with the how and when, one conserves energy that can be redirected into vibrational coherence. This allows the quantum field to operate unhindered, bringing the desired reality into manifestation without interference from doubt, anxiety, or fragmented attention. Flow is deeply interconnected with detachment. Flow is the state in which the individual no longer attempts to force circumstances, but instead moves in harmony with life, fully engaged in the present moment. In flow, the actions one takes are intuitive, informed by inner guidance rather than external pressures or expectations. Neuroscience shows that flow states are associated with optimal brain function, characterized by synchronized neural oscillations in the alpha and theta bands, heightened parasympathetic activation, and reduced activity in the stress-oriented circuits of the brain. This physiological state is ideal for manifestation, because the nervous system is coherent, the mind is clear, and emotions are aligned with desire. Flow emerges naturally when detachment is practiced. When the mind stops oscillating between desire and doubt, the nervous system shifts from survival mode into the state of creativity, receptivity, and effortless alignment. The paradox of detachment is that it does not diminish desire. Desire remains strong, clear, and defined, but it is no longer entangled with fear, scarcity, or compulsive seeking. The individual is fully aware of what they want and maintains emotional resonance with that reality, yet they do not impose rigid timelines or attempt to micromanage the process. This subtle shift in orientation is powerful because the quantum field responds to frequency rather than to external effort. Obsession, struggle, or impatience broadcast signals of lack and fragmentation which produce results that mirror that uncertainty. Detachment, conversely, produces a frequency of completeness, coherence, and readiness, which the field naturally amplifies. The moment the mind releases the need for proof, it signals to the universe that the observer is aligned and prepared to receive, collapsing timelines that were previously inaccessible due to interference. Practicing detachment requires conscious self-awareness. Many people are unaware of how often they cling to outcomes or measure progress against arbitrary external markers. They ask, "Is it happening yet?" Or "How will I know it is real?" These habitual questions reveal an attachment to validation, which perpetuates oscillation and misalignment. Detachment begins with noticing these patterns and gently redirecting awareness inward, toward the coherence of being rather than outward, toward validation. Techniques such as meditation, deep breathing, and mindful presence can support this practice, helping the nervous system relax and the mind settle into clarity. As the practitioner cultivates detachment, they gradually develop a sense of inner sufficiency, understanding that the manifestation is already in motion, and that the universe is responding to the quality of their consciousness rather than to external proof. Flow is also characterized by a heightened sense of intuition and synchronicity. When the mind is detached from struggle, it becomes more perceptive to subtle cues, opportunities, and guidance that were previously obscured by noise and doubt. The field responds to the coherence of attention, and when coherence is maintained, the individual finds themselves naturally aligned with circumstances that reflect their desires. Encounters, opportunities, and ideas seem to arise effortlessly, as if the universe itself conspires to support the aligned state. This is not randomness. It is the direct reflection of the internal frequency of being. Flow allows the individual to act in harmony with these currents, taking inspired action rather than reactive or forced steps. Inspired action is a hallmark of manifestation in the state of detachment and flow, as it maintains coherence while navigating the material world. A practical aspect of detachment is the release of timelines. Most people unconsciously attach to specific deadlines, believing that their manifestation must occur within a certain window. This attachment introduces resistance, as the nervous system interprets urgency as stress. In spiritual practice, releasing timelines is an acknowledgement that time as humans perceive it does not govern the operation of the quantum field. The field responds to vibrational readiness rather than to linear schedules. By relinquishing the fixation on timing, the practitioner aligns with the intelligence of the field, which is capable of collapsing possibilities into reality at the optimal moment. Detachment from time also reduces anxiety, allowing the body and mind to remain in a relaxed state, which is conducive to coherence and flow. Emotions play a crucial role in the process of detachment and flow. Emotional coherence amplifies alignment because feelings act as energetic signals to the field. When emotions are congruent with desire, they serve as a stabilizing force that reinforces the vibrational frequency necessary for manifestation. Conversely, emotional turbulence, worry, or frustration fragments the signal, producing experiences that reflect that misalignment. Spiritual traditions often teach that cultivating joy, gratitude, and inner peace creates a fertile energetic environment for manifestation. Detachment supports this cultivation by preventing emotional investment in uncertainty, and by focusing attention on the lived experience of already having what is desired. Flow, then, becomes the natural consequence of emotional alignment, as the individual moves through life with confidence, presence, and clarity. Another important dimension of detachment involves releasing dependence on external signs or confirmations. Seeking constant reassurance from the outside world reflects a lack of internal trust and reinforces oscillation between doubt and hope. The spiritual principle teaches that signs are reflections, not instructions. They echo the current state of consciousness rather than dictate future outcomes. When detachment is practiced, the observer no longer requires signs, recognizing that the inner state of coherence is sufficient to collapse the desired reality. The nervous system and consciousness are no longer entangled in cycles of observation and doubt, allowing manifestation to proceed without interference. This is why the absence of signs can often indicate alignment. The field does not need to signal when coherence has already been established internally. Detachment also fosters resilience in the face of apparent delays or obstacles. Challenges in the external world are not indicators that manifestation is failing. They are often neutral events or reflections of misalignment in the observer. By maintaining a state of detachment, the practitioner navigates obstacles without creating additional resistance, preserving the coherence necessary for manifestation. Flow enables the individual to respond appropriately, taking inspired actions that harmonize with the field, rather than reacting out of fear or impatience. This interplay between detachment and flow ensures that the energy remains stable and directed, preventing oscillations that would delay the collapse of desired outcomes. Coherence in mind, body, and emotion is the central principle that bridges spiritual understanding, neuroscience, and the practical process of manifestation. Coherence refers to the harmonious alignment of thought patterns, emotional states, and bodily sensations in a unified energetic frequency. When coherence is present, the mind does not contradict itself with doubt, the emotions do not fluctuate with anxiety or scarcity, and the body supports the flow of energy rather than resisting it through tension or stress. In this state, consciousness communicates with the quantum field with clarity and precision, creating a vibrational signature that the universe naturally mirrors. Without coherence, manifestation becomes inconsistent, delayed, or partially realized, because fragmented signals produce fragmented outcomes. True mastery of manifestation requires the cultivation of coherence as a consistent internal state rather than as an occasional or reactive practice. At the level of the mind, coherence begins with clarity of thought. The human mind naturally generates a constant stream of ideas, judgments, predictions, and memories, many of which are conditioned by past experiences or social programming. When this mental chatter conflicts with desire or intention, it creates a subtle form of internal resistance that disrupts the alignment necessary for manifestation. Mental coherence is cultivated through disciplined focus, conscious reframing, and the repetition of affirmations that resonate with the desired reality. Neuroscience demonstrates that repeated patterns of thought wire neural circuits, reinforcing beliefs and expectations. Therefore, When thoughts are intentionally aligned with the state of already having what is desired, the brain reorganizes itself to perceive and interpret reality in support of that state. This mental alignment reduces doubt, prevents oscillation, and creates a foundation of clarity from which emotional and bodily coherence can emerge. Emotional coherence is equally critical, as emotions act as the energetic carriers of intention. Emotions are not merely psychological reactions. They are measurable bioelectric and biochemical signals that communicate a person's internal state to the universe. Positive emotional states such as joy, gratitude, and love amplify the vibrational frequency of coherence, whereas negative emotions such as fear, anxiety, or frustration introduce disharmony and interference. Emotional coherence is cultivated through practices that bring attention to feeling states such as mindfulness, visualization, and heart-focused breathing. By consciously experiencing the emotions of already having what is desired, rather than waiting for external confirmation, the practitioner creates a consistent energetic signature that resonates with the desired outcome. Neuroscientific research confirms that coherent emotional states activate the parasympathetic nervous system, reduce cortisol levels, synchronize heart rhythms, and enhance cognitive function, all of which support the internal alignment necessary for manifestation. Bodily coherence is often overlooked but is essential to the manifestation process. The body is the physical vehicle through which energy flows and intention is anchored in the material world. When the body carries tension, stress, or misalignment, it disrupts the coherent signal broadcasted into the field. Chronic stress, poor posture, and unregulated nervous system activity create energetic interference that prevents desires from fully materializing. Practices such as coherent breathing, somatic awareness, yoga, and movement meditation help align the body with the mind and emotions, allowing energy to circulate freely. The body becomes a resonant instrument that amplifies the coherence of thought and emotion, producing a powerful, unified signal that the quantum field responds to. Physiologically, the body, heart, and brain become synchronized, creating an internal environment in which manifestation occurs effortlessly and naturally. The interplay between mind, emotion, and body can be visualized as a triangle of coherence. When all three corners are aligned, the signal broadcasted is strong, precise, and resonant. When one aspect is misaligned, such as mental doubt, emotional turbulence, or bodily tension, the signal weakens and manifestation is either delayed or partially realized. The act of creating coherence is therefore not about forcing outcomes, but about integrating awareness, cultivating alignment, and harmonizing internal states. This integrated coherence is the frequency to which the universe naturally responds, because the field mirrors the state of being, not the content of desire. External circumstances are reflections of this internal coherence, providing feedback, confirmation, and alignment opportunities rather than instructions or proof. Heart-centered practices are particularly effective in generating coherence, because the heart acts as an energetic amplifier. The heart produces the most powerful electromagnetic field in the body, which extends beyond the physical form and interacts with the surrounding environment. When the heart is in a state of gratitude, love, or calm assurance, it stabilizes brainwave patterns, synchronizes nervous system activity, and creates a resonant field that magnifies the clarity of intention. Heart-focused practices, such as directing attention to the center of the chest while breathing rhythmically, enhance coherence across mind, body, and emotion. This coherent field communicates unambiguously with the quantum field, producing manifestations that are aligned, precise, and often unexpected in their elegance. Language and thought patterns play a critical role in sustaining coherence. The words used internally, the I am statements, and the narratives one repeats silently throughout the day directly affect the vibrational output. Neuroscience shows that repeated statements reinforce neural pathways and condition the brain to experience the world according to the narratives encoded. Statements that express lack, waiting, or doubt fragment the internal signal and interfere with coherence, while statements that affirm presence, alignment, and fulfillment strengthen the unified frequency. Reframing internal language to embody the state of already having, rather than hoping or seeking, is therefore a practical method to maintain coherence continuously. This linguistic alignment harmonizes thought, emotion, and physiological response, creating a holistic frequency that is mirrored back by the universe in the form of manifested reality. Energy management is another crucial component of coherence. Every thought, emotion, and bodily state carries energy, and coherence requires that this energy flows freely, rather than being trapped, suppressed, or conflicted. Practices such as breathwork, meditation, and somatic awareness release stagnant energy and harmonize internal states. The release of negative patterns, unresolved emotions, and mental clutter clears the path for the desired reality to emerge. In coherent states, energy circulates effortlessly, intention is broadcasted clearly, and the nervous system operates in a state of calm receptivity. Flow naturally arises from this energetic harmony, as the individual moves through life in alignment with the frequency of their chosen reality, rather than in reaction to external stimuli or outdated conditioning. The quantum field mirrors coherence, not effort. When mind, body, and emotion are harmonized, the internal signal resonates at a frequency that attracts corresponding circumstances. Conversely, when one aspect is misaligned, the field cannot amplify the signal effectively, leading to delays or partial outcomes. Spiritual traditions across the world emphasize this principle in different ways. In Taoism, it is Wu Wei, effortless action. In Buddhism, it is non-attachment and equanimity. In Christianity, it is faith that rests in the unseen. In Kabbalah, it is the alignment of consciousness with divine order. Despite the different cultural expressions, the underlying principle remains the same. Coherence produces alignment, and alignment produces manifestation. The cultivation of coherence requires practice, awareness, and consistency. It is not a matter of occasional alignment, but of making coherent states a habitual internal landscape. Even small intentional moments of presence, emotional clarity, and bodily awareness contribute to the overall vibrational signal broadcasted. These moments accumulate, creating a strong energetic foundation that the quantum field responds to with precision. As coherence deepens, the individual experiences a natural reduction in reliance on external signs, an increased sensitivity to opportunities and synchronicities, and a sense of ease and trust in the unfolding of life. Manifestation is no longer a struggle. It becomes the effortless result of inner harmony, where mind, body, and emotion operate as one unified instrument of creation. Aligning with your chosen timeline is the culmination of the principles of manifestation, coherence, and detachment. The chosen timeline represents the version of reality in which your desire has already been realized, existing in the quantum field as a fully formed potential. Every individual is entangled with multiple potential timelines, each reflecting different possibilities, outcomes, and frequencies. The act of alignment is not about creating a new reality from scratch. It is about tuning into the frequency where your desired outcome already exists and maintaining that resonance consistently. Many people fail to align with their chosen timeline because they perceive time linearly and feel compelled to force results according to external schedules or expectations. This misunderstanding creates tension, oscillation, and internal resistance, which fragment the signal sent to the quantum field, delaying the collapse of potential into actualized experience. Alignment requires a subtle but profound shift in perspective, understanding that the timeline is already present, and that the only requirement is to synchronize consciousness, emotion, and action with that reality. The first step in aligning with a chosen timeline is recognizing that the timeline is independent of your external circumstances. External events, appearances, and material markers do not dictate the reality of the chosen timeline, they are reflections of it. In quantum mechanics, the potential of all timelines exists simultaneously until observation collapses one possibility into actuality. However, when observation is charged with doubt, anticipation, or fragmentation, it collapses reality into a state of partial fulfillment or delay. The conscious mind often interprets the absence of external evidence as proof that the timeline has not yet manifested, but this is a misperception. Alignment requires maintaining the internal state of already having while disregarding the misleading feedback of external appearances. The nervous system must remain calm, receptive and coherent, radiating the frequency of completion rather than lack. The field responds not to external validation but to internal resonance, meaning that true alignment is an inside job. Belief is a critical factor in maintaining alignment. Belief is not merely intellectual acknowledgement, but a felt certainty in the body, mind, and emotions. It is the energetic conviction that the timeline already exists, and that the desired reality is inevitable. When belief is partial, the signal to the field is mixed, producing oscillation between timelines. To deepen alignment, one must embody the state of the desired reality through thoughts, emotions, and actions that reflect already having it. Neuroscience confirms that repeated mental rehearsal and emotional embodiment can rewire neural circuits, creating a perception of reality as if it has already occurred. This rewiring is essential because the brain acts as a filter, emphasizing information that aligns with the dominant internal state and ignoring information that contradicts it. Therefore, cultivating belief through embodiment accelerates alignment and reinforces coherence, ensuring that the chosen timeline becomes the dominant energetic reality. Detachment is a complementary practice that enhances alignment with the chosen timeline. Many people mistakenly believe that wanting something intensely or obsessively will accelerate manifestation, but this approach creates tension and signals lack. Detachment is the conscious release of neediness and the surrender of control over the process, while maintaining clear intention and desire. It allows the nervous system to operate in a state of coherence, where the body, mind, and emotion resonate as a single signal. In detachment, the individual trusts the intelligence of the field, understanding that the collapse of the chosen timeline is inevitable once internal alignment is achieved. This trust eliminates interference caused by anxiety, impatience, or compulsive checking, which would otherwise fragment the signal and prolong the manifestation process. Flow naturally emerges from this state, as inspired action is taken effortlessly and without struggle, guided by internal resonance rather than external pressure. Visualization and mental rehearsal are powerful tools for solidifying alignment. However, they must be employed with a focus on embodiment rather than mere imagination. Visualization works effectively when the practitioner not only sees the desired outcome but also feels the emotions associated with having it, engages the senses, and experiences the reality in the body as if it has already occurred. This multisensory engagement communicates coherence to the nervous system and broadcasts a unified frequency to the quantum field. Emotional immersion is crucial, feeling gratitude, joy, love, and satisfaction, as if the desired outcome is present, anchors the chosen timeline in the energetic field. Over time, repeated practice of this type of embodiment strengthens alignment, reshaping perception and creating a natural resonance with the desired reality. The more coherent the internal state, the more consistently the field collapses potential into manifestation in accordance with the chosen timeline. Language and self-talk also play a significant role in alignment. Every statement beginning with "I am" is a broadcast into the quantum field, signaling the current state of consciousness. Statements reflecting doubt, waiting, or uncertainty fracture alignment, whereas statements affirming presence, completion, and coherence reinforce it. For example, saying "I am already living my dream" broadcasts a clear, unified frequency that resonates with the chosen timeline. Conversely, saying "I hope this happens" or "I am waiting" communicates fragmentation, confusion, and lack. Conscious attention to language, repetition of aligned affirmations, and avoidance of contradictory self-talk ensure that the internal signal remains strong, coherent, and focused on the desired reality. This practice gradually shifts perception, creating an internal landscape in which alignment is effortless and continuous. The body's state is equally important for alignment. Stress, tension, and misalignment of physiological systems disrupt the vibrational signal necessary to anchor the chosen timeline. Practices that regulate the nervous system, such as coherent breathing, movement meditation, and heart-centered awareness, synchronize body and mind. When the body is relaxed, the heart, brain, and nervous system operate in harmony, producing a resonant field that supports the collapse of potential into reality. The physical body becomes a vessel through which coherence flows, amplifying the signal of the chosen timeline. This alignment between body and mind, ensures that action, intuition, and opportunity arise effortlessly, guided by resonance rather than forced effort. Synchronicities and external cues often appear once alignment is established, but they should be understood as reflections, not requirements. The field begins to rearrange circumstances, presenting opportunities, people, and events that resonate with the frequency of the chosen timeline. These synchronicities serve as confirmation of internal coherence rather than as proof of existence. When alignment is strong, the mind no longer obsesses over validation, trusting that all necessary conditions will manifest in perfect timing. This trust eliminates the cycles of waiting, doubt, and checking that previously blocked the collapse of reality. The chosen timeline is accessed not by chasing evidence, but by embodying coherence, detachment, and trust, allowing the universe to reorganize itself around the resonant signal being broadcast. Time perception shifts in alignment. The field responds to the state of consciousness, rather than linear timelines. When an individual is fully aligned, the timeline is experienced as present, already realized and accessible. The usual impatience, urgency, or fixation on deadlines dissolves, because the observer recognizes that manifestation is a function of frequency, rather than chronological waiting. Actions are inspired rather than reactive. Opportunities arise organically, and the external world reorganizes to reflect internal coherence. The interplay of belief, embodiment, detachment, and flow ensures that the chosen timeline is experienced as immediate and real, collapsing the distinction between potential and actualized reality.